Hi there, Kelly here from Social School, and as part of this 360 series course, Ad Campaigns, we promised you some demo videos on how to build your cold, warm, and hot ad campaigns. I'm going to simplify this quite a bit. You can spend a lot of time on the nuances of each of those types of campaigns, and of course, in the early stages that come before the build, where you're gathering your assets, writing your copy, and finalizing all the creative aspects of your ad. I've done that in advance, so hopefully you will have as well when you get to this stage, and then building the ad campaigns is going to feel really, really easy and fun, I swear. So we're going to start off with the cold build. As you learned in the course, the cold awareness, top of funnel, big, broad campaigns are important. And in fact, they're almost so important that we want to have them running at all times, kind of like an evergreen campaign or something that's always on, working for you as that top of funnel filler. Getting people who have never heard of you before into your funnel, into your bucket and your fold and your reach. And you're reaching them through these big, broad, cold ad campaigns and hopefully moving them down to serve up your warm and your hot, high converting ads as you go. So today we're going to be building this cold ad, and as I mentioned, it's going to be an awareness-based objective. So I'm going to shrink my face here, and we're going to carry on, heading right over, as you learned, into the Create button. I'm in Facebook Business Suite Ads Manager. I've already gone in and built all my audiences in Audience Manager, and I'm going to hit that brand awareness button right off the hop. The other thing that I've got open is my Trello board, which summarizes my ad copy and objectives and budget, etc. It's a really simple planning board. Wherever it is, if it's a spreadsheet, a Word doc, a sticky note that you want to plan out your spend, your audience, your campaign name, no problem. But I encourage you, again, do that in advance. So the reason I mention that now is because I'm going to hop right over here into Trello and show you what that looks like. So this is just a simple Trello board. I've actually pulled this one out of my main ads map, or our ad copy and ads map board. And I've just pulled it right into this little column right here. And I'm calling this the, October-November funnel campaign. And it's in particular focused on a specific program for us. Another thing I'm going to show you right away is this little folder here. Which is where we will have our assets planned out, or kind of supplementary place on my desktop is where I like to keep it, or in Google Drive, where you can see these three campaigns. The one we're building is number 2, and that is our so-called marquee programs. Number 1 would be our general programs, always on, evergreen as well, not just cold ad campaigns, but talking about our company as a whole. Number 2 here, the one I'm focusing on, is a subset of campaigns for the social media marketing certificate. It's our marquee program. A third set of ad campaigns we often have running is what we like to call our secondary programs, our smaller courses, our toolkits, just other maybe, purchasable programs or courses at Social School that are not as important and not as high a spend as our marquee program campaigns, and not always on like our general campaigns. All that to say, you don't have to have several different campaigns as well as several different levels of those campaigns, cold, warm, and hot. You can just have one set. And again, the one I'm focusing on today is the social media marketing. Just to give you a little teaser of what we're going to be building here in these 3 videos, I'm going to show you the assets. So number 1 is SMM1 objections video. This is my cold ad, as you can see by the little blue button beside it. And what that means is that we are choosing a video that we created from an old piece of Social School footage. It was a video we had created at some of our conferences, and we've pulled it into Kapwing, our favorite video editing tool. And in a matter of 10 minutes, we added some subtitles to it that paint the pictures of objections that we often hear. This is a good top of funnel campaign for us because it shows we're listening. It shows we get you. We're right off the bat positioning ourselves shoulder to shoulder with our audience to show we get them, we understand them. And then if they're going to see our warm video or ad campaign and our hot, it's going to be more specific about curriculum, testimonials, meet your instructors, etc. But in this top one, we chose to go with a video that basically shows what it is people are saying and feeling when they reach us and reach out to us. And I'll give you a little teaser what that looks like now. All right, so we're really lucky that we had that footage and I was able to repurpose it into a video that I can use in a different fashion for our social media marketing program. I'm going to show you the second set of assets that we have, and this one will be for the warm SMM2 campaign, which you'll see on the left there, also known as the Meet the Instructors carousel campaign. So it's not a video ad. We're gonna, this time in number 2, which will be the next video you'll watch, we'll be building a carousel ad with still imagery. So if you don't have video, still imagery carousels, which you can actually leave as a carousel that people would flip through the graphics or the photos, or you can actually blend it into a video using Facebook's video maker tool from still images. So it's up to you, but I'm going to keep it as a still image carousel, and these are the images that I've chosen to use. So let's head in here and I'll just go to thumbnail mode. So because this campaign is going to be about Meet Your Instructors, it's going to be targeting people who have been on the website, who've opened or engaged with our ads or our social content, or they're members of our e-newsletter subscriber list. So that's my warm audience for this ad set, or this ad campaign. And what they're going to be seeing is a series of images of Jamie and I, the course instructors, along with some students. So really catchy and compelling, nothing that's too zoomed out, because you and I both know when you see a little thumbnail ad or you're scrolling past ads, we want to connect with eyeballs, not giant crowds and not faceless, nameless humans. We want to see real people. As human beings, that's who we're literally wired to connect with from the moment we're born, to look for the faces of the people that are going to care for us and love us. So in our ad, how can we do that? How can we show personality? I've tried to select some photos. I crop them in Canva to a square style or size so that I'm going to only run it on platforms or placements that are going to support that size. And hopefully it'll look really good. And then finally, our third asset is for our hot ad, and that is going to be SMM3, the testimonials video campaign. So I did the same thing here. I took a raw video that we had done at a conference in the past, or a series of conferences. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It was done in our campus at our retreats. And I turned that again into something with some captions. And this time I put testimonial quotes over top of the video in Kapwing. That's K-A-P Wing, our favorite tool, really affordable. It's in our tool shop if you want to read more about it. And now we've got another video for the ad number 3. And I'll show you what this looks like now as well. A bit of an abrupt finish, but you know what? It'll do the trick. I don't know if you could hear the music in that track. I'm sorry, but I pulled a free audio track in Kapwing, added it as a background or as sound throughout so that it's at least got some sound playing as well. Now, we all know how important captions are when a video, a piece of content or an ad plays in your feed as you're scrolling Facebook or Instagram, and that is why those captions need to be bright and bold and present. A video ad without captions anymore sometimes isn't nearly as effective because people don't turn on their sound and the sound isn't going to be on automatically. Okay, so you've seen the sort of back end, really simple here. All I've got as my guide or my map for building these campaigns is a folder on my desktop with my assets that I'm going to pull in, my visual assets of video or imagery. And then I've got a corresponding Trello board here. And what I've done in advance, let's go into SMM1, the campaign we're building first, is I've simply written out my copy. At the top, I have a little summary of what that campaign name is, what the ad set name is, and what the ad is going to be named. Remember those three hierarchical layers of your ad campaign. Campaign name, ad set, ad name. Then I know my duration. In this case, 24 days. I know my budget. I'm going to do $50 a day on my cold, and then I'm going to get smaller on my warm and hot because it's more targeted. It's not going to cost me as much, and I really need to reach a lot of people in this cold ad. I know who my audience is going to be. It's BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan small business owners, entrepreneurs. I've got that audience already built. I'm good to go. And then from there, I just made reference to the video captions that I also put on the video that you just saw. So I have them. And then I've written my ad copy. Headlines, I have two options that I'll be able to give Facebook for my ad. So it can A/B test both and serve up either headline that's performing better. And then I've written out a lot of text here. And this is something I've been experimenting with. Don't feel like you have to go the long diatribe route. It works really well for course creators, coaches, brands that are maybe trying to sell in a more one-to-one fashion. So we've been playing with this a little bit, but don't feel like you have to. The other thing I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by is like writing this script. I cheated and I pulled it right off our website because we've spent a lot of time crafting our sales pages on our website. So I feel really good about that copy. Of course, I'm going to use it in our ads, just as we do in our social content, in our reels, in our video scripts. That's our sales messaging. That's our compelling, sales 101. Again, standing shoulder to shoulder, understanding objections, painting a picture of success, outlining the program, the deliverables, the guarantees, the instructors. Like that's all stuff that we've honed over the years. So for me, it was a little bit easier to come up with this copy. You can have one headline, one paragraph description for your ad and your URL, and you're laughing. All I'm suggesting is that you write it out in advance so that you have a reference for it later if you want to duplicate it or just continue to really easily at a glance see what your ads contain, or if it's just a place for you to copy paste into your ad really simply. So I've done that for my cold. What about the copy, which you'll see again in the next video as we're building out the warm campaign? Same thing. I've outlined the basics of the campaign name, ad set name, etc., budget, duration. What audience is this going to be? I mentioned it's now a series of custom audiences, so a combination of people that have engaged with our ads, they've been on our website, they're reading our e-newsletter, or they're subscribed, all within the last, say, 90 days. And then again, my headlines, my primary text, I've thrown in some emojis too. We're playing with this a little bit more layly. My URL, and then the call to action, simply learn more. Same thing finally in the copy and the outline of the ad, campaign number 3, laying it all out, rewriting some headlines to again be really high converting, action-oriented headlines as opposed to the awareness-oriented headlines in the first ad campaign. And then again, this one really goes right into, because I'm like, okay, what's going to get them to the finish line? They're down, they're in the hot category of interested audience members. They haven't pulled the trigger yet. What's going to get them across the finish line? Man, a video showing testimonials and a whole lot of ad copy showing deliverables, what you will walk away with, what's in it for them, speaking their language, knowing that this is what people want to hear from us because we listen to their FAQs and then we're putting it out there in an ad for them. You want to know what you're going to get? Oh, here's exactly what you're going to get. You want to know if other people have liked the program? Here's the testimonials. So understanding that, and again, that goes back to all the work you've done already in your audience building and just ad campaign setup. Okay, was that a long enough tee up or what? Let's get in there. So we're back in Ads Manager now, and we're heading into that green button. As I mentioned, brand awareness, and then I want to name my campaign. But because I'm lazy and also I want to keep it consistent, I'm going to go right over here and I'm going to copy this so that I have it exactly as is, name that campaign. And I'm going to name the ad set level when I get there. So no worries there. We're ready already to dive into the next step. And we're already bumped to that ad set level. No, I lied. We're still at the ad campaign level. Sorry. Remember the hierarchy? Yeah, step 1. We have a couple more things to do here. So we're not going to A/B test this. We're not a special category. We don't need to worry about that. Maybe you are though, if you're running employment, housing, or social issue related ads or credit. And again, our daily budget here is going to be fairly robust, $50 a day. We're going to do lowest cost bidding, and we don't need to worry about any additional options there because we're heading into the ad set level where we're going to determine ad duration. Once again, I'm going to head here and just copy the name of my ad set because I always have the same naming conventions for our ad set. So there we are. I like to make a reference to the campaign, to the objection, to the time frame, since that's determined at the ad set level, and then again, my audience. So in this case, budget is set and schedule shall be, let's go tomorrow morning. I'm going to actually say 1 a.m. I want it to hit the algorithm with a boost, with gusto, and hopefully get it running right from the morning hours where there's not as much competition with new ads coming online, and it's going to do its learning phase for a few hours or a day or two, and then hopefully really serve itself up to the right people. And I want this to end at, I'm going to say 12 p.m. The day before our program starts for any stragglers. Show more options. I don't need to worry about an ad spend limit. I'm not concerned because I trust that it's not going to spend more than $50 a day. Now, because I've got all my saved audiences built and I know them well and I name them accordingly, they may look overwhelming to you, but I know exactly what my system is. Remember in our audience building lab, we talked about building 9 key audiences. 3 cold, 3 warm, 3 hot. And of course, those colds are those kind of stabbing in the dark, top of funnel, big, broad audiences. So in this case, I am aiming for, oops, I chose the wrong one. I want BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, SMBs. So that for me, in my language, is small business or entrepreneurship interest, behaviors of being a small business owner, a Facebook page admin. Their job title might be business owner, entrepreneur, or founder. That's who I'm trying to reach in my big, broad top of funnel. And that nets me 3.1 million people across those 3 provinces. It's open still to male and female. If I really had too big of an audience, I would probably narrow it to female because that's who we often have the best results with our ads. But again, up to you, and best not to exclude people if you don't have to or if you don't know for sure that you should. I like to go with manual placements when I've got an ad asset that I know is not going to appear great in a vertical format, like an Instagram reel or a Facebook story. It's not going to be the best because it was made as a 16:9 horizontal video, as you saw. And beyond that, there's just a few placements here that I don't really want to waste my budget on. So I'm okay with all the feed, even Instagram Explore. Yep, no problem. What about in stories and reels? No, I'm going to click that off because again, the video is just not going to render very well on that big, beautiful vertical format. And I like to run specific ads and specific assets when I'm running a reels or a story ad. And then likewise in stream, I don't actually think this is going to show up in that format, but we'll see. I'll leave it ticked just in case. It'll be interesting to see if Facebook allows us to play that video on in stream. And in article, I'm okay with, but in apps, I think I'll keep it off of Audience Network for now. I don't want, thesaurus.com or some kind of random website that Facebook places its ads onto to steal my budget in this case. But sometimes it can be a great way to show up on more random sites. Okay, and then optimization, I don't need to worry about this. We're ready to move to the next level. I feel really good, again, about duration and audience and placements. And what do you know? We're now at the ad level already. So I'm going to head back to my planning card and I'm going to just copy the name of my ad, which is SMM1 Objections Video. And I will just replace that name there. Facebook and Instagram pages are locked and loaded. And from here, of course, I have the option to use an existing post, use the Creative Hub mockup tool in Facebook, or create my ad from scratch. And that's what I'm going to do. In the next ad, of course, we'll create our carousel, but here I'm going to do a single image or video. I could add an instant experience, but I don't think it's going to show very well. I'm going to leave that off for now. Instant experiences are very long and mobile friendly, but I'm just going to keep it simple today. I'm going to just delete this video asset that they pulled in and instead just go from here. So add video, and I'm going to head on in to that file that I mentioned, and I'm going to choose my SMM1 final, and I'm going to upload that beast right there. It's going to take a minute. In the meantime, let's see what I need to give it for copy. Primary text, great, I can do that. Website URL, absolutely, I'll be adding that. And then it's going to give me the option to write a short headline and a description if I need to. But the primary text is what I'm really worried about here initially. So let's head back over here. I'll come back to my headlines and I'm going to copy this primary text, which remember, I wrote a bit of a novel because That's what I felt like doing this time. And I'm really trying to connect with people on a deeper level with these ads, but we don't often do this. So I copy pasted that big ad block or that copy block in there. I could even add additional ones if I wanted to have a second primary text, but I don't need to. In this case, I've said enough. Now my headlines. If we could just see how this is showing here, we would really get an idea. Here we go. So it's giving me some previews, and preview as you go. It's really important to see how this ad is starting to render across various placements. In this case, let's look at Facebook newsfeed. Looks good. Of course, if someone was to click more, and remember, that's considered a click action. Don't be fooled to think that a click means to your website when you're looking at your ad insights. A click is any kind of click on that ad, and that includes the more. So that's going to get really long, but I'm okay with that. Chances are people aren't going to click on it as often as they are going to simply, hopefully, watch the video. That text came in really quickly. We colored it the way we did for a reason, and it's got a lot of motion and funky music to hopefully get people watching and then again hitting more. So Instagram feed looks good, Facebook Marketplace looks okay, but you can see that we're really missing something. What are we missing? The headline, because some placements simply won't show that primary text. So let's go in now and add headline A, where once again we're playing with emojis. Take note of what you're being served up in your news feeds, and do they resonate? Are you seeing emojis? Same within your inbox, your email marketing subscriptions. Are you seeing lots of emojis that catch your eye? Do they work? Totally fun to play with if you're a super nerd like me. There's one headline, and I'm going to add a second here. And again, that gives Facebook a couple of options to play with. It's pulling some other ones from previous ads that I've written, which is kind of handy, but in this case I wrote my own, copy pasted, and now I can see that headline showing up. Likewise, if I was to do this, paste a description here, I'd see it on some ads, but I don't actually need it today. If you want to see though, let's just give it I'll copy paste that again below as the description, because there will be some placements where we'll see now a description show up as opposed to the primary text. Where's an example here? No, they're all still just showing my primary text and video. In fact, Facebook isn't yet showing the headline. It might still be thinking about it. Facebook Marketplace isn't showing it. Facebook video feeds, no, still not showing it. I don't think it's actually keeping up with us. That's okay. Oh, here we are. Our ad is in fact undeliverable to Facebook in-stream videos, and I think it's because it's too long. Yes, a length of 5 to 15 seconds is required. That's fine. We don't need it in stream. We are just as happy with the placements that we do have. They're going to get really focused spending on them. Okay, and then let's go ahead and add in our website URL. Again, I've got that over here in case I'm forgetful. And it's this guy right here. If I am playing with my tag manager, which is a whole separate course, I can add in a UTM tag, which is going to track this more specifically. I build my URL here, or I do it in a planning tool. We've got a pretty extensive one that looks somewhat like this. And it basically spits out, you tell it what you are doing and what your campaign name is and your source and your medium and a few things. And then it's going to, through this fancy little built-in formula in our spreadsheet, it's going to spit you out a longer URL. So you can you can see that it still looks like the regular URL for this video, or this product, I should say. But anything after the question mark is tracking code, so that when I go into my Google Analytics, not only do I know that 40% of my website traffic is coming from Facebook ads, I know exactly what campaign and what ad within that campaign drove which traffic. So I have added information that Facebook can't necessarily tell me as in much detail as Google Analytics can. And this is exactly why people who are extremely bent on proper tracking and giving credit where it's due to their ads, use UTM tags. Today, we're not going to worry about it. We're just putting in our basic URL. Now let's shorten that further for the display link. Why? Well, because it's ugly when you add in HTTP or www. It's just not necessary. It looks a lot better on your ad when you're not wasting that important real estate with www, especially if you can see it here. There we are. Now our headline is showing up, as is our URL, the display URL, which gets right to the point. socialschool.io/, yes, it's cut off, but that's okay. I'm also ensuring that my headlines are not cut off and that they're written short enough. Let's just see if there's any placements that are actually showing this description as opposed to just our primary text. Apologies again that they're the same, but it was just for experimentation purposes. And in this case, none of our placements are, oh yes, here we are. So my description's showing up right here. And what it's doing, where it says without a doubt, again, my second facepalm girl. So what it's doing is actually taking away from my headline. And I don't want that to happen. So let's just get rid of this. I'm gonna just delete the entire thing. Let's let Facebook update it. And we'll see how that ad shows now. So again, being aware of your placements, seeing whether or not you need that description, whether you need primary text, whether you need headlines, 1, 2, or 3, is pretty important. The search in Facebook search results, we're only seeing the headline and the call to action. What about in article? Seeing a bit of both, a headline and some primary text, as well as the name of our page. So they all look a little bit different, which I guess isn't all that surprising. Okay, I think we are in pretty good shape to push publish here. I talked a lot, but as you can tell, there wasn't much to it. I just like to talk. I'm sorry. So we can go ahead and publish this. We're getting a warning here, but those are going to disappear as we push publish because some of them have been addressed, and we're okay with the fact that we can't have in-stream videos. So go ahead, Facebook, do your thing. This ad will start running tomorrow morning. Very exciting. And we will see how it goes. It is always worthwhile to, of course, check in on your ads often, but to give them a few days to really start, propagating after they go live. And then beyond that, we're breaking the rule here in that we only have one ad campaign, one ad set, and one ad asset for each of these campaigns. We've instead chosen to break things out at the campaign level with a cold, warm, and hot ad. But if I wanted to, I could create more ads within each of those campaigns so that it's that 1, 3, 9, or whatever kind of tree you want to make, as you learned in the course. But for this particular case, I really like our asset. I want to use it extensively and almost exclusively. And maybe I will experiment with some different pieces of copy instead of swapping out the ad creative. I hope that was helpful. And let's go back and see now. We've got our very first ad campaign live here. Oh, it's scheduled. I'm sorry. $50 a day. I could adjust this on the fly quite easily if I wanted to, or of course, go back in. Remember that when you're in Campaign Manager with this type of view, as soon as you click through, you're bumped to the next tab. Now we're in the ad set level. Click again, we're bumped to the ad. If I go back to campaigns and I want to make edits at the campaign level, I don't click on it, I go into edit. And of course, then I'm able to make any adjustments as needed. Try not to touch it if you can. You're probably, if anything, going to be making edits at the ad set level or even duplicating this guy. If I want to duplicate it and change the audience, this is the way to do it. Super simple. You don't want to rebuild maybe the ad asset and all the copy you just wrote. So you come back at the ad set level, duplicate there, and serve it up to a different audience. You don't have to rebuild the entire thing. All right, I will see you in video number 2, and we will build ourselves a warm traffic ad. See you there.